we're developing already. We have a team of 15 people, I think, almost 15 people, and we are developing already. But we're very focused on delivering what we need to deliver in the short term. I think we will have some platforms out in summer 2018, but the core platform that will do everything that we're expecting to do will be in 2019.
And can you tell me about the token?
Well, as I said before, it's used for the transfer and registration of assets within the platform. And what we see happening is people will be able to create wealth. At the moment, when you create wealth in a game, it stays in the game. It's a one-way, it's osmotic. You send something in, it doesn't come out. With this solution, you're able to create assets and value in a virtual world and extract the value back into the token. Once you've got it in the token, you can put it into another virtual world. So you can start by, I like playing in Camelot, and then I don't like that, and I want to live on a high density world. I've got some tokens that I can apply, or you can exit and take it to fiat currency and fund a lifestyle. And what I see happening is very soon after the platform's released, you would get people in low-income countries being able to earn a living through this. And then eventually you'll be able to get high-income families. We're already talking to someone who wants to take us up to Manchester, where they're thinking, having told them what they do, they're quite keen to start educating people in how they might work and become a professional in the virtual world rather than a professional in the real world. And that's the really exciting part of this business.
And you were talking about the kinds of people that might come to you. Who's your customer?
So we have two types of customer. The first customer is gamers, game developers. Game developers who are building games that want to use our technology to monetize and commercialize their product. And the second is the player that works within the game, who needs the tokens to operate within those games. But our foremost customer that would use the technology is the developer, but the people that would use the token are the game player. And I say game player quite widely. I mean, it could be anybody. I could be an architect, and I just decide I want to be an architect in a virtual world. That is, in our view, a gamer in this, because it's not a real world, it's a game world, but it still emulates the real world.
So you're talking about a lot of things that we would see as real world skills and real world jobs. How transferable do you think those kinds of skills are? You're talking about an architect. Is it realistic that a conventional architect who's struggling to find work now might be able to transition to this system and become an architect in virtual worlds?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the principle, when you first develop games, you would have a flight simulator, and if someone shot at the plane, it would blow up and it would fall out of the sky. That was it. One of my co-founder actually his company created the damage engine for aircraft, which most people use now. That damage engine worked out that if a bullet hit it, this is the damage it would cause to the aircraft, and it became real. Once that happened, flight simulators became more realistic. You have that with all games. You can now have physics engines in games. In the old days, if you were playing a game and you hit a box, the box wouldn't move and you would just sort of stand there running. Now you shoot a box or you run into a box, it actually obeys the laws of physics and it moves. The same thing is happening in this. The virtual worlds and the MMOs that we've got at the moment obey some sort of physics. As people develop more and more these engines that emulate the real world, the virtual worlds will emulate the real world. So you can't just build a house. You will need to design a house. So you will have to understand the engineering behind the house. You'll have to understand the architecture behind the house. And if that world was a Camelot world, as I mentioned before, then you could only use material that was available to them in those days, and you could only use skills and machinery that was built a house. You couldn't build a sort of iron substructure and a limestone fascia. You'd have to build it the way they did. If you were on a high density world, maybe building in steel's not the right way to go because it can't accommodate the stresses and strains. Or if it were an underwater world, you'd have to use material that was suitable to that. So yes, I see that absolutely. I see it more exciting actually. You'll have people that actually want to specialize in this because it's the new frontier. and the new frontier is more exciting than the existing frontier. That's why humans do new things.
So do you have competitors that you know of who are trying to do a similar sort of thing?
No, there's no one trying to do what we're trying to do, and that we know of. I mean, who knows what's under the radar, but there's no one trying to do this. And I think it goes back to my early premise, which is if you have people from the industry and you have people that know how to build this technology, then you're going to build something that's right for the industry. This is a solution that the industry has needed. In fact, all the directors that have joined us not because they see this as a new company. They see this as solving a need that they've seen in the current iteration of gaming, and that we'll be able to solve it. And that's something worthwhile doing.